I was in the oil field equipment business with a company called Gardner Denver. I worked for them for 10 years, and the oil business went under. So I decided to get into real estate, and that was in 1981. And I started with a real small firm over in the Casa View area and stayed with him for about 5 years. And then I went to Remax Realtors out in Mesquite and stayed with them for about 10 years. And during that time, one of the agents in our office got a listing over here on Groveland. And I was not real familiar with Little Forest Hills, but I drove down Groveland for the first time. I would say it was probably 1982 or 83, and I fell in love with it. I just thought, this is the neatest street I've ever been on.
Wow.
With all the wonderful trees and hills and everything. And I ended up selling the house, sold it pretty quickly. And then I started working this neighborhood because I loved it so much and started sending out literature and everything to get business here. And so I ended up buying that house and living in it for a while. And then I sold it and moved to another house on Groveland. So I lived in that house for 14 years, and that's where my sons grew up, was in that house at 8723 Groveland. And we really enjoyed living here. The boys loved living here, and we had a lot of good times in that house. So then I moved to another Remax office and was there for another 10 years. And then after that, I opened up my own company, which was White Rock Lake Real Estate. So I've had this company, White Rock Lake Real Estate, for the last 7 years now, and moved into the home I'm in now, that we're here now on San Benito. This house was owned by the same family for over 50 years, and I purchased it from her, and we did major remodeling on this house, and we're still in the process of remodeling it. But one of the things that we like about this home is that it's a double lot, and we like to garden. We're organic gardeners. We have our chickens, we have our bees, and we also have a little water garden. So there's a lot of gardening to be done here that my wife and I both enjoy a lot.
Stuff too. Yeah. What got you interested in the organic gardening movement and the organic food stuff? What was your inspiration with that?
Originally, when I lived over on Groveland, I liked to garden and I liked to grow things, but wasn't having too good of success at it. I used a lot of chemical fertilizers. I used a lot of poisons. In fact, I was the type that, if it said use 2 teaspoons of malathion, I said 6 will be better. So I noticed that my soil was really hard, and I didn't have toads or lizards or anything on my property. So I started listening to Howard Garrett, which is the Dirt Doctor.
The Dirt Doctor.
On Sunday mornings, and he started telling me about a different way to garden and maintain my life and my landscape and everything without using the poisons and chemicals. So I started following his advice. Basically, one of the main things about organic gardening is that you concentrate on improving the health of the soil. You don't really feed the plant, you feed the soil, and you increase the microbial activity in the soil by feeding it. And in fact, the first thing I did on my over on Groveland was I bought like 20 10-pound bags of sugar, and I spread the sugar out all over my lawn. And what that does is stimulate the microbial activity in the soil. So anyway, I started using organic principles, organic fertilizers, rock powders, and those type of things. And within about 5 years, the soil on that property was kind of like the consistency of chocolate cake. Very moist, friable, and I was really growing a lot of good plants. So anyway, that's kind of what started me on it, and I've just continued it. Probably had been organically growing things for about 15 years now.
So did you get better yields and all that kind of stuff too?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. And it takes a little patience because there's a lot of beneficial organisms that help you in organics. And when you use the poisons and chemicals, you kill those. And so you have to have a time period where they build back up, like your ladybugs and your lizards and your praying mantis and your toads and things like that that help keep the ecological balance by eating the bad bugs that eat your plants.
How'd you get into bees?
Actually, I don't keep the bees myself. I foster the bees, and I met some people through the organic community named Brandon and Susan Pollard. They have a organization called the Texas Honeybee Guild, and they keep bees. They have beehives all over the city in people's backyards, and then they come and maintain them. They also then they harvest the honey and they sell the honey, but they'll give me honey also. And it's called zip code honey because it comes out of my zip code, 75218 honey, and that is a lot more. It's good for allergies and things because the honey helps you build up resistance to allergies, especially if it's in your location. You want to go to the chickens?
Yeah, let's go see the chickens.
Okay.
Yip, 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 yip.
Hello, girls. You want something to eat? That's what you're here for, isn't it? Yes. At ground level and make it level.
Are these just egg hens, or do you also use them for meat after they're done with their productive cycle?
Paula will not allow us to use them for meat.
Ah, gotcha.
They would be good to eat.
Uh-huh.
To eat them. We have them for pets and for eggs.
Uh-huh.
Yip, 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 yip.